You know the feeling, right? You open your inbox and it's just this wall of unread messages. So why is it that you'll open one email but then instantly trash another? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain and uncover the secrets behind those emails that actually manage to grab your attention. So let's really think about that question. When a brand sends you an email, they're stepping into your digital home, your inbox. And that space is already packed with messages from your friends, your family, and a ton of other companies all trying to get your attention. So to cut through all that noise, an email has to be something special.
And that special something, that secret sauce, it's email design. We're not just talking about a catchy subject line, it's the whole visual experience, the thing that makes you want to stick around and actually see what they have to say.
All right, so let's get into it. What exactly is email design? Well, you can think of it as part art and part science, and it's absolutely crucial if you want people to, actually read the emails you're sending. So, the official definition is that it's the strategic use of layout, colors, images, and calls to action, or CTAs. But what does that really mean? It means every single visual piece is there for a reason, all working together to make you, the reader, want to interact with it. I love this analogy. Thinking about email design is a lot like being an interior designer for a tiny digital room. You're picking out the furniture, the layout. You're choosing the paint colors. You're hanging up the art, the images. And you're doing it all to create a specific vibe and guide people right where you want them to go. So, if you want to become one of these great email interior designers, where do you start? Well, you start with the fundamentals. We're about to break down the 5 most important elements that make up your essential design toolkit. Yep, that's it, just 5. If you can get a handle on these 5 things, you'll have everything you need to build some really effective emails. First up, we have layout. This is basically the skeleton of your email. It gives it structure and makes it easy to scan. Now you see a few options here, but honestly, the one we're going to recommend almost every time is the single column layout. Why? It's simple. Most of us are reading email on our phones, and a single column just looks clean and is super easy to scroll on any screen. Element number 2 is typography. And this is so much more than just picking a cool font. It's about making the words on the page effortless to read. You can play with size, boldness, and color to create a clear visual path that guides your reader's eye from the most important stuff down to the least. And speaking of size, here's a super practical tip for you. For your main body text, you want to aim for something between 14 and 18 pixels. That's kind of the sweet spot that makes sure your message is easy on the eyes, no matter what device someone's using. Okay, element 3, imagery. This is where you can inject some real personality and brand flavor into your emails. Graphics, photos, even your logo, they make an email feel so much more appealing. But, and this is a big but, you have to use them wisely. So what does using them wisely even mean? Well, for starters, it means paying attention to the file size. If your images are huge and the email takes forever to load, poof, you've lost your reader. So a really good rule of thumb is to keep every single image under 1 megabyte. Element number 4 is all about getting people to do something. We're talking about buttons. In the marketing world, we call these calls to action, or CTAs for short. These are the clickable bits of your email that are designed to get your reader to take one specific action, like shop now or learn more. But here's the thing, not all buttons are created equal. You really should have just one primary CTA. This is your main goal, and it needs to be the star of the show, big, bright, and impossible to miss. You can have other secondary CTAs, but they should look less important so they don't steal the spotlight. And that brings us to our 5th and final element, color. Color is powerful stuff. It creates a mood, it reinforces who you are as a brand, and it just sets the whole tone. A tech company might go for cool, trustworthy blues, while a fast food brand might use energetic reds. You can even switch it up for holidays, using reds and greens for a Christmas promotion. Okay, so you've got the 5 elements down. Now it's time to talk about what separates the good designers from the truly great ones. And that's making sure your emails work for everyone, including people with disabilities. This isn't just some technical thing to check off a list. It shows you actually care about your entire audience. Now, accessibility might sound complicated, but it really boils down to 3 simple keys. First, responsive design. which just means your email automatically adjusts to look great on any screen. Second is color contrast, making sure your text is actually readable against the background. And third is overall readability. Simple things like using empty space and aligning text to the left make a huge difference.
And let's get really specific on that color contrast point for a second. There's actually a magic number. To meet the official web accessibility guidelines, your text should have a contrast ratio of at least 4.5 to 1 against its background. Hitting that number isn't just a nice to have, it's a real pro move.
So, we've walked through the 5 elements and the pro-level skill of making them accessible. Now let's tie it all together with the one big idea, the master key that unlocks all of this.
And this is it. This is the big takeaway. Good design is simply about respecting your reader's attention. All these rules we talked about, layout, typography, color, accessibility, they're not just about making things look pretty. They're about respecting someone's time, their vision, and their focus in an incredibly crowded space.
So, the next time you're sitting in front of a new, empty email draft, just remember, it's a blank canvas. You now have the toolkit and the philosophy to build something that's clear, engaging, and respectful. So the only question left is, what are you going to build?